All right, notable NFL games. There you go. Broncos-Texans. That is a big game. I think the winner of that game, that guy is the coach of the year. We can argue it out all you want. I think the winner of that game is the coach of the year. Dan Campbell's done a good job, but Detroit was supposed to win the division. Indianapolis has done a good job. They're in the playoffs right now. Mike Tomlin has done one hell of a job. But the Texans were they were almost on the clock last year, and the Broncos were putrid. And the winner of this game is probably making the playoffs. Think about your job as a coach is to coach them up during the year. Who has coached them up more than the Broncos? They gave up 70. They were awful, and they might make the playoffs. Commanders ain't making the playoffs. Probably get a coaching change at the end of the year, getting 9.5 at home. 49ers Eagles. That's another big game. That's a huge game. That's gonna be fun. And then you see on Sunday, primetime, Chiefs Packers, and then Monday night Bengals Jags. The Thursday night game, by the way, is Dallas hosting Seattle. That'll be the first game on the Thursday night. 75 days until the Super Bowl. Oh, baby. Let me get my guys in. Mike McClure, DFS millionaire. Larry Hartstein, the maestro, the dean of everything we do on SportsLine. All right. Early game to get on. The game you like now because it's not going to be there if we wait. Larry, you're first.
This line has already moved, but I think it's going to move some more. Detroit at New Orleans. The Lions having to stew over that upset loss at home to the Packers. They have extra rest. They're going up against the Saints team that can't score a touchdown for their lives. 0 for 5 in the red zone. And that's when they had some of their best offensive talent, like a Chris Olave, like a Rashid Shaheed. Michael Thomas is out. All three receivers look to be out this week for a team that can't move the ball, and then or they can move the ball, but they cannot get in the end zone. And you see it's already up to 4.5 since I sent it in a little bit earlier today. I think everyone agrees with this play because you still have no Marshawn Lattimore. The pass rusher for the Saints also might be out. So it's really a bloodbath down there in terms of the injuries for the Saints. And I just think the Lions are primed to bounce back strong. And the Lions defense, was exposed by Jordan Love and some of those really talented young receivers. The Saints don't have any of those.
All right, Michael.
EK, this is a game not a lot of people are going to be on this or on this side, but I actually love it a lot. It's Atlanta and the Jets over 34. The market has responded the other way so far and pushed it to a point where I actually like it. It opened at 36.5. I made 37.5, which is an incredibly key number in the NFL. That's where I made this game. It's got 20-17 written all over it to me. When I look at this Jets-Falcons matchup, first of all, the Falcons have been an over machine on these lower totals here. I think they're good enough to push offensively when you look at the pass rate of the Jets as well. I think this is such a high variance spot that these defenses will create some short fields for the offenses. I think it's one of those ugly games, but I do think the total is too low here. So a very rare number for me going over with the Jets. I think it's their best offensive output in weeks. Give me the over 34 here.
Okay, fair enough. I like where your head's at. Mine is I'm going to the Broncos-Texans, and I love this game under. 47.5. Again, the Broncos are not the same team. They gave up 70. I know. And everyone laughed. And Sean Payton made fun of the Jets coach, the coaching staff, the guy's now the head offensive coordinator of the Jets, of what Nathaniel Hackett did last year, and they started putridly and all that other good stuff. But there's only one thing. Their defense is suddenly playing really well and stout. They're giving up 17 points a week now for like a month and a half. And the Texans, I still believe, are a good story, and they got guys that are easy to root for, so we're a little inflated with that offense. And 47.5 is huge. And let's be honest, the Broncos are not this like juggernaut on offense. I mean, I get any stalls in the red zone, any penalties, anything at all. Both teams have to go crazy for this to go over. I like it under. This is going to be like 46 come kickoff. It's going to come down because the professionals are going to look and go, well, the Broncos are good. No, the public's going to want to see points. I don't think you're going to see 48 in this game. 48, that's a lot. All right, let's talk about this game a little bit more depth. And I'll tell you, I like the Broncos with the 3.5 as well. I'm not going to be surprised if they win. I mean, you love the Texans and your hard hearts, place you talk about parties. You love them. I know they played really well last week, could have won, beaten the Jags and all that other good stuff. They match up well against the Jags. They've beaten the Jags basically when they're a 2-win team. All right? I think that Denver is very quietly, don't tell anybody, like a better team than all these little average teams in the AFC. Better than Indy, better than Houston, better than the Chargers, better than those kind of teams. And I think they're going to win. They may win the game, but getting 3 and a hook, and I think you better grab it now because I think that's coming down. It's not going to 4, but it is going to come down to 3. So I'm going to take the 3.5 now and run. Mike, how do you see this?
I'm on the under with you here, EK. 47.5 is a massive, massive number here. I make it 44. So through a lot of those key numbers, I would be very surprised if this didn't come down. The only thing that I can point to as to why it may not is just the fact that it's a game that's played in a dome, controlled environment, makes a big difference where Denver typically gets to play in some of the elements. But overall, I think the total is way too high here. You mentioned Denver not being super strong offensively. They're great defensively. They run the second fewest plays in the NFL. I don't see a massive sense of urgency. They're fine winning some of the ugly games. That's what I think this thing turns into. I think they're very live to win it outright, but I do love the under here at 47.5.
Yeah, it's my play of the week right now. And I don't think it's going to be anywhere close to that. You can already see in the market, a lot of those 47.5 just have come down to 47 already. And you can still get 47.5 minus $1.10. So it's not even like it's juiced. So it's not going the other way. It's coming down. So grab it now. Larry, what do you want to do here?
The Broncos have just been so lucky during this 5-game win streak. 16 turnovers they've gotten. They've recovered 9 fumbles in the 5 games, which is hard to imagine. The Texans have recovered 1 fumble during this stretch. And, C.J. Stroud does not throw a lot of interceptions, only 5 picks all season. So I think the Broncos are going to struggle because they have been getting the ball around midfield with all of those turnovers, and they're still struggling to cash it in the end zone. I think this is where the luck starts to even out. I would have much preferred to lay the 3 points. A professional group got in on the Texans, and that's why we're seeing this up at 3.5. You're right, it could come back later in the week. It's very tempting. A team on a 5-game winning streak getting over a field goal looks tempting, but I think it's been a lot about luck.
All right, there you go. So he's going to like the Texans. I like the Broncos. Mike and I both like the under. All right, this is a really massive, fun game. And look, that first game's on CBS, right? That game, the Broncos-Texans on CBS. You want to check that out. And now you got the 49ers and the Eagles. And the Eagles win this, you can book it. The road to the Super Bowl in the NFC is going through Philadelphia. That's it. I mean, lock it up. You lock it up. You lock it up. But if San Francisco wins, the Eagles still have to play in Dallas. Then maybe it's the 49ers who could host. So a lot on the line in this one. This is interesting because it opened with the Eagles as a 1-point favorite, and now they're getting 3 at home. That's a 4-point swing. It shows you that people think that the Eagles have been as lucky as they've been really, 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 really good. Larry, you're first. What do you want to do? 49ers, Eagles.
The 49ers have been the best team in football since the bye, since Trent Williams is healthy and all of the weapons, and they're just demolishing people, and they have extra rest for this game. They barely broke a sweat in destroying Seattle, and now the Eagles defense on the field for 95 plays against the Bills in that great overtime game. They lose Fletcher Cox, they lose Zach Cunningham, so they're going to be thin at linebacker, and the 49ers running game, that's not a team that you want to be thin at linebacker against. So, and then throw in, of course, all the motivational angles for the 49ers, who have been pointing this game for months, and the Eagles have just been through the gauntlet, having to play the Chiefs and the Cowboys and the Bills. So I think this is where finally they are not able to come through and pull off another one of those great wins. I'll take the 49ers. I laid 2.5. I will still lay 3.
All right, there you go. What do you say, Michael?
I'm looking at the total, EK. I want to go over on this one, 46.5. Pretty key number. I would play it before you have to go to the 47, where you need 48 for the win condition. But when you look at the 49ers defense, yes, they've been fantastic, but I do think we have to pump the brakes just a touch when we look at some of the quarterbacks they played. They played Baker Mayfield, a banged-up Geno Smith, Josh Dobbs. I think the Eagles, having this team here, knowing that whenever they get into a third and short situation, it's essentially a lock to stay on the field. I think that's going to be critical here. I think both offenses have enough success. So I'm liking the over here. I would price this one at 48.5, much like the Buffalo game. So I'm pretty shocked to see that we're getting this under that key number of 47.
I have to say, I haven't found anything I love in this game yet. It's going to be a prop game for me. I kind of like San Francisco on the money line if I can grab it now. I mean, you could see some minus 140s out there, but I can't go any higher than that. And even that, I don't feel like I'm getting real value. I do think the 49ers find a way, but we are on the road. I don't even know what the weather report is yet. I mean, it could be, we're now in late November, back in 63. I mean, this could be ugly. I don't know what we're dealing with. I mean, it's going to be December when we play this game in Philly. I can tell you, I live in Connecticut. It was 20 degrees colder today than it was yesterday. It was cold today. I don't know what it's going to be like. It could be 60 tomorrow. I don't know. So I'm going to wait on this one. I don't really have a play. If I had to pick one now, I'd take the 49ers money line, but I don't love it. All right. You know what? That's going to be one heck of a game, and we will lock that down before the weekend's up. And you know what? You get all the stuff, right? Watch all your old games live, streaming on Paramount Plus. We got all the best. We got all the best. You want to see Mahomes? You want to see Josh Allen? You got to go here. That's right. Streaming on Paramount Plus. Terrific job. I know I have it, and you should too.